welcome back, everyone, to Total Nonstop Impact Talk for Impact fans right here on the Twitch and the YouTube and wherever you get your podcast audio worldwide, baby. Tonight, to my left, your right, we've got a front row Bill in the house. How are you doing this evening?
Doing good, J-Bone. Good to see you. It's like I haven't seen you since Tuesday. So,
it's been a bit. All right. Alisha, our Lady Satan, is taking the night off. So in her place, we have a front row Eddie, if you will. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm finally back on the show for a full review this time. Hopefully.
There you go. Yeah, you've been on, what, once or twice or something like that?
Yeah, if I remember right, the Bound for Glory post show or the Impact after, and then I think sometime in June for like 20-25 minutes. So I come in like the boogeyman. You don't know when the boogeyman's going to show up, but when he does, it's just like to see.
There you go. Except you're not doing strange, vomitous things to worms live on YouTube. And we appreciate that. You know, I don't want you getting any ideas like, oh, hey, I could. No. Don't get any of those ideas in your head. This is a family show. You know, what you do to your worms is your own business. That's
true.
That's what we tell it. That's what we tell everyone that wants to be on this show.
Yep.
All right. Anyways. How's everyone out there doing tonight? We are here to talk. That's right. All things TNA. Yeah. This was an absolutely loaded show. In fact, this whole week from last Saturday till now has been absolutely loaded. We had Emergence, which was a great show, which I jumped in for part of the review, I think. This whole past weekend's a little fuzzy, very emotional, but we're back. We're in the swing of things. If you missed Tuesday's show, please go check it out. Bill and I covered all things NXT-TNA. Covered all the stuff between the goings on NXT and, you know, Rosemary showing up. Was Joe Hendry there? What's up with the Rascals on there? There's a lot of little things happening. It's a very exciting time with this partnership happening. So you never know who's going to show up and do what. Wednesday, as always, is Team TNI UK. Check out our brothers from across the pond. And they're always running everything down that's TNA related as well. But we are here to cover tonight's show along with the latest news. So, guys, what are we going to talk about first?
You want to talk about that?
You talk about J-Bone's news? You want news first, J-Bone?
Oh, I think we should.
Yeah, you got to have the J-Bone's news. We did it on Tuesday, for goodness sake. So
that was the debut of J-Bone's news on a Tuesday.
So now back to the flagship show, the original home of the one and only J-Bone's News.
Jiminy Christmas.
And now, long awaited, once duplicated, but here, J-Bone's News. Searching for my fake wrestling news.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, tonight's show was absolutely loaded. We're going to get to some of the extra, we'll just say some of the extracurricular stuff happening outside of the ring that we saw tonight. But I did want to touch on something that caught my eye earlier today. I got to quick find the article, so just give me a moment here. It is regarding, there it is. TNA roster member Rich Swann. We talked about him recently being suspended. And we didn't really go into a lot of details at the time. He's working on his sobriety from what we heard from behind the scenes. Well, today apparently he was in court and he was found guilty after arrest for public intoxication, and he's serving 6 months probation. And so I don't know exactly how TNA is going to handle that, if they're going to have him work on his sobriety and then bring him back maybe post probation. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens. I personally think he got off pretty damn lucky, and I'm not knocking our legal system because God knows sometimes I do, but I think he's damn lucky. What any thoughts from you guys on Rich Swann with this? Let's go to Eddie first.
Like you said, I'm not really familiar with like the laws, especially in like Florida and elsewhere. I'm just glad he's turned his life around for the better. That's something we can all agree on.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked at a bar before. It's no secret, obviously. Those that know, you see these people like destroy their life. For what? Why are they? I'm not saying don't have a drink, of course, or not smoke or whatever, but just do it appropriately.
Right, moderation.
Moderation. That's the proper word.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people can't. Some people just can't.
Yep, especially with him having a kid. Of course, you don't want to affect the kids growing up in childhood with the father or mother being an alcoholic or a smoker. Yeah. So I'm just glad he's turned his life around. Hopefully, fingers crossed, for the better forever.
Yeah. Bill, anything to piggyback on that?
Well, no, I think you're right. I think obviously there's the suspension in there, and we've seen wrestling companies take that approach, that he was already kind of a couple months in to sobriety already since the incident. That's a good sign. I'm sure they'll be monitoring this. They probably have some type of idea. Like the roster page was updated with Casey Navarro, but Rich Swann's still in the first class stable there. So I think the plan obviously is to bring him back at some point. I'm not sure if it would be like that whole probationary time frame. It doesn't sound like there's like any limits like leaving the states or anything like that. It's as long as you keep your nose clean type thing.
Exactly.
It should be fine. So who knows when? I'm sure they probably already have internally discussed some type of time frame, because it was more probably the unknown was the suspension, about not knowing about it more so than anything else. So what that entails, is that a loop? Is that 2 loops? Is that 3 loops?
Yeah.
Who knows? Fruit loops of all the loops I'm talking about. But no, I think we're all just wishing Rich the best, and I'm sure coming back better on the other side of this. And it does seem like that's already been happening. It seems like this was the wake up call when this happened. So sometimes that's all you need to get the old kick in the rear in the right direction. So for him, hopefully that's the case.
Exactly, because you know what? Some people get wake up call after wake up call after wake up call, and they just don't get it, and they can't do it. They try and try again, and I take this stuff pretty seriously, just because I've dealt with it all my life, on and off. This is tough. I lost. I don't mean lost as in lost in death, but I had to walk away from a friend because his habits and his drinking were just out of control, and you can only hang on to people like that so long, and then finally you just got to let them go and live their life, and you wish them well. I wish them well. I still love them, but I was crying. I was texting him. I'm like, dude, I can't be a part of this no more.
Yeah, sometimes you just you can't be part of those situations. because that's the trouble. Stuff like that, it drags everybody surrounding them into it as well. So, like, it's one of those things. Like, a lot of people say, well, they're just hurting themselves. Usually not. You're hurting yourself, those close to you, those around you. So that is what happens. You lose people doing it that way.
I mean, he is the only friend of mine that I considered him a brother, but every single time he called me up, he was plowed, and that hurt. Like, I'm like, I started, I looked at it a little differently than some people, but I'm like, man, I started taking that personally. I'm like, what the hell? What kind of person am I that you got to be plowed every time you talk to me? That started really hurting. I'm like, I want the old you back, So that's tough, man. It's tough. So yeah, we wish him the best. We hope he comes out on the other side of this, a better person, a better father, a better human being. We love Rich. We want to see him on top again. So.
And somebody who's met Rich a couple months ago, I think in Cincinnati.
Okay.
If you meet him, he is so down to earth and so amazing.
Oh yeah. He's always been that way. One of the most approachable. Like, he doesn't act like a superstar, and that's a guy that obviously made it. Like, he was in WWE. He doesn't have any of that air about him. That he's bigger than anything, for sure.
It's like a quick little, I guess you could say, humor story to kind of brighten the mood up a little bit. I was at the Cincinnati tapings in May. I forget what me and my mom were doing. We were by the merch.
Greater Cincinnati.
It's technically Newport, Kentucky. Proving wrong. Look up the venue. It's Newport, Kentucky. Thank you for that. I ain't lying. It's Newport, Kentucky. Anyways, we were doing this stuff in the merchandise area, and Rich was maybe 15, 20 feet from me. I said, hey, can I, take a picture? He said, oh, absolutely. And I said, I was the one with the AJ Francis Strauss Top Dollar sign. Top Dollar referencing AJ Francis's WWE run. And I said, oh, I think I'm going to get sued for this one day just because, obviously, another name on a program. He's like, man, it's so cool, man. Come take a picture. It's like that. The way he said it was really cool. Like, I had nothing to worry about with the signs.
Yeah.
Which made me, as a fan, obviously feel comfortable bringing a sign like that. So, like you guys said, we wish Rich Swann nothing but the best, and obviously changing his life around for the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, all right, next.
And just like real quick, J-Bone.
Oh yeah,
since
sure.
It's become a part of the show that, and you always mess it up. Obviously, he's Rich Homie Swann after the rapper Rich Homie Quan. Just rest in peace, because he passed away, Rich Homie Quan. So
I did see that.
Reference him often.
I did see that headline today that Rich Homie. I mean, I had to read it twice. I was like, wait a minute, Rich Homie Swan. Oh no, wait, Quan. Okay, look, and I rest in peace. All respect, but I don't have any clue who the guy is. I don't know any of his stuff. I'll have to put it in the, I'll have to put turn some on in my earbuds sometime and just at least give it a listen. But yeah,
and 34. So obviously that's a tragedy.
Way too young. My goodness, that's crazy. And it was just 2 weeks ago that I actually realized that that's what Rich Homie Swann was based off of. I'm like, correct. Rich Homie. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Look, I'm old. I'm, not as hip as everyone else. I'll admit it.
Well, yeah, we had the youth in there, Critical Sting, wising you up a couple weeks ago. This is what I was referring to when I talked about getting J-Bone up to speed on the Rich Homie Swann moniker. Rest in peace, Quan.
There you go. Yes, thank you, Critical Sting.
Yeah, wish it wasn't in this context.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, rest easy. All right. All right, we got to bring this up.
More news.
This kind of like steps across boundaries, so I'm gonna bring this up anyways, just because it is
boundaries.
Well, yeah, it's like, and I feel a little more comfortable talking about this, especially because we do have that NXT TNA relationship. Whether you love it or hate it, it is a thing, and I feel like it's really doing well. I just saw the trailer today. I know, and everyone's. Oh, here we go.
I hear a collective groan among the audience right now, Jay.
Number one, have you seen the Netflix Mr. McMahon documentary trailer? It's supposed to come out in a month or two. Have you seen the trailer, and what do you think of it? We'll start with Bill.
Jabo, what are we supposed to get out of this documentary, this series, the rise and fall of Vincent Kennedy McMahon? We kind of know where it went. Like, the only thing I can think of is the Ultimate Warrior smiling upstairs because of that self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior DVD. This is his sweet revenge in the end. Justin Miller, probably. Like, it's just like, maybe that's something they could have done with more time. It feels too soon to be doing this. Netflix doesn't usually miss on a lot of stuff, but this feels like, and we'll see. I didn't look into like the production elements of it, but obviously the WWE is going to Netflix and this is on there. I feel they're going to exert some creative control to kind of, let's just say, Vince wash this in some way to make it, even though you're going to have to face some obvious issues all the way back to the steroid stuff. Yeah. But to the current stuff that ousted him from the company, we'll see. It just feels like when they try to do more like kind of real life news stuff, they normally don't do a great job with it. Now, if it was kind of more of an independent look from somebody else, maybe. But I can't trust this. This feels like something. And once again, it feels too soon because there's still an unknown. Like, and maybe they're doing it because who knows? Like, I don't know his health. I don't know what he's going to be doing in another year or two, and they want to get something out there. But it doesn't feel right. So I would say it's better. Like they did for the Great Vlad Superfan. One that was like shelved for like, what was it, close to 2 years after completion. Like, maybe film it, put it on ice for a while, put that thing, put it in the Wayback Machine, and then maybe bring it to life in a couple of years. But it seems like a bad idea to me.
I hear you. Eddie, did you happen to see it? Any thoughts?
I saw the last like minute of the trailer, so I haven't really seen it all. But like Bill said, it's probably a little too soon, especially with the move to Netflix in 2.5 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
So I don't want to talk about the lawsuit and all that other stuff, but this could potentially hurt Raw on Netflix because obviously people know who Vince McMahon is. And they know what Raw is. So it could potentially, have people not tune in.
Yeah.
That's just obviously my thoughts. Maybe overprotecting, overbearing, or whatever you want to say. But it could, like Bill said, it's just a little too soon, especially now with the Netflix Raw coming up in 2.5 months, 3 months.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see what the overall reaction, and obviously if it's something that really, I mean, when it comes out, you could tell like how long stuff stays in the top 10. If it sticks around for a while, if it doesn't even make it, who knows? We'll see what kind of reaction it gets. Yeah,
I still don't have Netflix.
Hey, not everyone does, man.
I know.
Wait till right before the end of the year and see if they do any Black Friday specials on it. I have absolutely no doubt that WWE is going to have some kind of deal to sweeten the pot to get people to subscribe to Netflix.
And if I remember right, speaking of deals, if I remember right, like Black Friday week for Peacock, it's like $2.99 for a full year for any subscriber. I believe that's something that happens.
Yeah.
Because I've seen ads pop up here or there, so I'll probably wait till very last minute.
Yeah.
Like 7:59 that Monday.
Exactly. All right. Before we, and by all means, let us know what you think in the chat too. Have you seen the trailer and what do you think of it? Are you looking forward to it? You're gonna skip it? Let us know. Before we get too far into the show, I do want to thank our tippers here. We got Punk with the $2 tip. Sir Super Chat here just came in to say hello to you, knuckleheads. And a super sticker. Thank you very much. Always appreciated. And somewhere in here, I saw it. Where did it go? Here we go. Rayline, always holding it down with the bits. Thank you, brother. On the Twitch. And Dr. Gerb's in here now with the $5 tip. Thank you very much. Says, welcome former NXT star Josh Woods to the Mad Cat Brethren and fall scents in spice cider and pumpkin spice candy corn. I don't know if I want my beard smelling like candy corn, but Bill,
for the holidays.
Yeah, I suppose. You could just like rub candy corn scented stuff all over the place and for your hot dates during the holiday. I don't know. Sounded good. Bill, where are my samples, bro? I want to try this.
They're still right here. We gotta figure out stuff because none of the group gets together anymore.
This is like, true. It's been.
We'll
tough.
Give J-Bone just free reign over everything. Is my guess. Forget the others.
Well, I'm pretty sure Alisha's man has a pretty prominent beard, unless he shaved it all off. I'd say give him a few things. Let Trent's got a nice beard.
Who's that? Who's Trent?
Trent, I know. Summer summer has come and gone. It's
the summer of Trent.
Yeah, it's we were longing for Trent like his ex.
The summer of better things to do.
It's too soon. No, I'm kidding. But then me with my my salt and pepper here. So who knows? Yeah,
you put enough in there, it might give it some color.
There we go. Yeah. Oh yeah. There we go. We were watching the Brewer game the other day, and they showed guys that were like bald in the seats, and they had beards down to here, and they were like neon blue with yellow mustaches. I was like, oh my God, priceless. But thank you everyone for the tips. Great way to help support the show. Also, if you want to become a member, that's on the main page of the YouTube channel. Another great way to help support the show, and you get some extra perks. But above all, make sure you guys are smashing that like button, smash that sub button, and ring that bell for notifications so that you know when our stuff hits your screen or your earbuds or whatever, however you absorb our content. All right. Any more news? Oh, you know what? We should at least talk about the we got to give some love to the new ladies of the Knockouts division.
Yes.
We got a promo tonight, and I almost missed this. I came in the middle of it. It was a young woman, and she was holding a fan. Now, it was really hard to tell. It was kind of dark, kind of mysterious. I'm going to have to like play it back and see exactly how it went. But correct me if I'm wrong. That looked like it could quite possibly be a former NXT women's wrestler, Xia Li.
Correct. He's correct, J-Bone. Somehow the Knockouts roster will have 2 Xias.
Oh,
it's unbelievable.
But now, is that okay? So this is what I was debating during the live reaction. Was that the name that was given to her, or is that her wrestling name she had before she came in?
That's a good question.
Because WWE has a different policy now as far as when you leave, you can keep your name or something to that effect. They don't fight you for it anymore like they used to, I don't believe.
I believe Xia is her name, but I think she Yeah, because she was Zia Lee there.
Barry Monkey says Zia Zhao.
Chow. Yeah, that was So a couple different names, but all featuring Zia.
No, and I'm excited about this just because it's a fresh face to the Knockouts division, but I don't think I saw her wrestle much. And I don't think that's to any fault of her own. I think that's just, possibly injuries. I'm not sure. I'm just not as familiar with her as I had been with others, from NXT in the past. You guys know much about her?
It seemed like she was around for a couple of years. She went from obviously NXT to the main roster. I know it was a big deal because that was, I guess, WWE's first Chinese signing. That was like a huge story. And then she appeared here and there from what I gather, but never seemed to be obviously a fixture on anything. But didn't seem like she really had the chance either.
Yeah. Like she was I wouldn't say a mainstay in NXT, but she was like a regular in NXT. Then got, I think, drafted or called up, one of the two, to SmackDown. And of course she does 2 times on SmackDown. Vanished, went to Raw, 2 matches in Raw, released. That's from what I remember.
Okay. So, yeah, and I don't even remember how long ago she was released. It was sometime within the last year, I think it was.
It's still pretty recently. I think she was only available in mid-July. So she hasn't been available that long.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's this year.
According to Cage Match, her last match on a WWE program was back in April. And that was for main event.
Okay.
Then on Raw or SmackDown was back in February.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they were still using her close to when, obviously, she was released. Sometimes there's people that they don't use for months and then they get released. Yeah. So it seems like that. And I'm sure based on the current relationship, I'm sure there was plenty of discussion before probably getting too far down the road on this stuff. But no, I think if anybody looked for, and we know on this show, we hear it all the time, that they needed, you need some knockouts. You need to replenish the knockouts division. Well, looks like they may have been doing some stuff behind the scenes here. They weren't just sitting on their hands. Right. And most people would say, from the look, the potential ability, marketing, this was one of the top names out there. It's tough to argue.
Yeah, absolutely.
To invest in. So I'll be interested to see, because remember when they brought Zia Brookside in, they quickly announced 3-year deal. I'd be interested to see if maybe they got a longer term deal with her right from the get-go, or if it's kind of your typical 6 months revisit, 1 year revisit type deal.
Yeah, everyone's story is different as far as how much they talk to other companies. There's so many different factors. If TNA seems to be your only option, then that's what you go for. If you got people across the board hitting you up for appearances and contracts, then you got a little room to have a little signing war.
Yeah. Before we get into our next addition to the knockouts, J-Bone. Okay. Talking about Barry here with the international roster, I will point out that, because it's kind of fitting, right about the time they stopped doing the weekly show on YouTube, that the YouTube followers has reached 5 million recently.
Oh, so yeah.
5 million subscribers to the YouTube
I was going to
channel.
Did I put the visual in here? No, I didn't. I was going to put the visual in here. I saw that
milestone that a lot of, not many wrestling companies, there's only one that can also say they have that many followers.
Right. And it's this is the company that's gone through highs and lows. There you go. There's your visual. That looks like $1 million. got that in the email earlier today. So yeah, congrats to TNA on it. That is amazing. Like you say, it's may not be the biggest, but you know, us biased ones call it the best. You know,
that just shows you like there's the name recognition and not like it's out there. Like we're going on 21 years now. Like we're out there. This thing's going on. It's going to keep on going.
Yeah, I feel like the company's definitely in an upswing. It's never by like leaps and bounds, but it's like, ooh, you know, you could feel that, you know, you see it on TV. The crowds are getting bigger, you know. They're starting to almost fill some of these smaller arenas. It's a great sign. It really is, you know.
Yes, because Friday was sold out. Now, once again, where they played on Friday now is, I would say, their smallest venue they're playing lately. So just keep that in mind. But it definitely was the most full they've had that building, which because they played there a couple of years ago many times. Like that was a go-to venue for them. That they're selling out multi-size venues is a great sign because we know in the wrestling business right now there's companies that aren't selling out any venues they're going to. So you want to that's the thing. And you gotta, I know everyone wants to take that, be like, oh, we sold out one venue at this amount, so let's go to all venues that size or bigger. And that's not how it works.
No.
That's how you fail because, hey, who knows? You could go to a huge venue one year, do a great number, and the next year go there again. And guess what? You could sell, who knows, 20, 25% less. So,
yeah,
is that what you want to do? That's, we've been down this road with TNA years ago where they tried that, and all the dirt sheets wanted to laugh about it.
Yeah, and that's what I say. Like, why go to, say, for example, Louisville every, say, September? If you know, hey, they'll be in September this year, I can go next year.
Yeah,
you know, or the year after. Like, rotate the venues. Like, say do Louisville in September one year, then throw a February show in next year.
Right.
Just never do the same week every single year. Like we saw with All in London this year. Like 40,000 less than last year.
Yeah.
But as Bill was saying with Emergence, though, they oversold by 5 tickets.
Oh, wow.
Which is, I kind of predicted it because the line was pretty long. Like, hey, I'm pretty sure they oversold. And then, of course, found out they oversold by 5, which is a good sign.
Oh, yeah, sure. That's not bad.
Not for that 5, but
that's kind of the normal. That's kind of in this business. That's kind of an expectation.
Yep.
Like Chicago, J-Bone. I know, but you remember that as well. That was there was quite an oversell at old Cicero.
Oh, for Bound for Glory.
For Bound for Glory, even for some of the other tapings, but mainly Bound for Glory. That was like.
The summer ones fluctuated somewhere a little more than others. Like the first big one was, I think that was when Naomi debuted. There was some hype behind that. The next one calmed down a little bit, and then Bound for Glory heated back up. So But yeah, so it's a great sign for a place like Louisville. Like if they sold this place out and they couldn't do it before, maybe skip this venue and try to do something a hair bigger, you know.
If there's a hair bigger, like you can't be going like, oh, this is 700 people. This venue, let's go to 2,500.
Yeah,
that's a bad idea. If you want to go from 700 to 1,200, okay, let's do that. But it's the same issue like Philly. I know Critical Sting was talking about Philly and like the 2,300 arena. You're talking about 1,000 people type venue, but there's really no venue that goes from 1,000 to 1,250, 1,500. You got to go from 1,000 to like 2,500. Once again, big deal there. Now, if you're talking a 10-pole pay-per-view, if you're talking Bound for Glory Slammiversary, go ahead, make my day. Yeah. But if you're talking TV tapings, which is all they've done in Philly for like the last 8 tapings, then you better keep it to that size. You just got to know your audience and know your venues, which I think they do right now. I'm not going to say they always did, but I think they know it now.
What they could do, just of course, my opinion, like you said, like the big pay-per-views doing a bigger venue, like with Detroit, for example, they could say run Little Caesars Arena, which is downtown. I think it's like a 20,000 seat venue. Do that for the big pay-per-view, like Bound for Glory. Sell tickets, $10, $15 a piece. Get
That's
people
still
in the building, and then the taping go to like the whatever venue it is for the Bound for Glory this year. Kind of do like the bigger pay-per-view in the bigger venue than the TV tapings in, say, the college gym or recreation center across the street.
Yeah, I want no part of a 10,000 or more seat arena unless we're doing a partnership with the main roster and it's some type of super show where you're guaranteed names that sell out buildings like that. Or there's just like, honestly, because they've never played a building that big. Like that would be that. There's so much risk in that. Like you would need so much star power to sell a show like that. And then what are you doing? How much money are you hemorrhaging to do something like that? That would
like
worry
I said,
me.
Detroit. A lot of wrestlers are from like the Detroit, Toledo, Windsor, Toronto area, so they can obviously, like Rhino, for example, heavily promote it. Like with PCO in Montreal.
Well, PCO nearly killed himself promoting that show.
Yeah,
and in the end, he did great. They got 3,500 plus people at that venue for Slammiversary. But once again, that's what I don't know if someone could hit the streets more than PCO did. Like I heard stories of him hand delivering tickets to people that were buying seats.
That's amazing.
Like he went all out up there. So that I would, once again, I think right now we're in a nice window for major shows of 3 to 5K buildings. Maybe a year or two from now, we make that next step, depending on the roster, relationships. But it's big. Once again, they weren't playing. And remember, they were playing studios for a lot of years. So we will take that because I still remember going to empty college arenas during the Spike TV era because they were booking house shows and TV tapings in way too big of venues because it was good, cheap venues. and the college kids would never even go to these shows ever. Like that's a misnomer. If you play colleges that the students go, they never go.
Yeah. Look, and there is no one as much as me that wants to see a brand like, I know here we're going a little off the rails here, but just for an example, AEW was just in my hometown of Milwaukee playing the Panthers Arena. When they finally came to Milwaukee out of the pandemic, and I think it was right around the time of CM Punk's debut, and that was a wild time. And they pretty much sold that place out. It's about a 10,000 seater, give or take a little, I think, something like that, 11, 12, maybe at the most. But like I looked at tickets from Wednesday night, and that place wasn't even half full, and I feel so bad. It's like, man, but
you have to, like I say, you have to depend on the stars. You have to depend on a hot product.
Yeah.
Television ratings, like all these things go in to get people to come to a show.
Yeah.
Like there's only so much you can do. Like you can, like I said, you can get local promotions, but what's a local indie promotion get to a show? Hundreds of people. You get everybody to come to a show.
Yeah.
Like you're lucky to get, like, it ain't going to help that much. Like it's the crossover into that stratosphere with really only one company out there. Now, once again, once you go international, things get a little interesting because back in the day, TNA had great, like they were doing big crowds. Once again, big crowds. I'm talking in the thousands over in the UK. But once again, their TV deal is it's kind of iffy over there still. That's why I don't think they're going to go there until we really see something more substantial. But the international angle that we're talking about with some of these signings, I think that helps. Once again, these are all small steps to get there. But hey, if you told me 3 years ago that they be playing multiple thousand seats for shows, a couple shows a year, I don't know if I believe it.
Yeah.
And I'm about as optimistic a TNA fan as there is. But that may have seemed too far. But now, I think for like I said, for those 4 big shows, 3,000 to 5,000, that's in the wheelhouse, no doubt. Maybe in another year or two, you get closer to 10. But as you just said, there's a lot of money tied up in other promotions that are trying to get 10,000 people, and they're not getting it.
Yeah.
And that's with that's with major TV. That's with a ton of money in a roster. And they wish they could get that. Maybe you could do these one-offs somewhere, but what's that mean in the grand scheme of things? Oh, all right, we did one thing once.
Yeah.
What's that get you? Doesn't get you much.
I want to say something pretty badly, but I probably shouldn't.
We'll save it for another podcast.
There you go.
All right. Going backwards here for a second, we want to talk about the other knockout that is that actually did debut, not just in a promo, but in an interview section, and they are going to in-ring debut next week.
Well, since signing. We've seen her before, Jay, but you've seen her wrestle. Re-debut.
Well, I mean, as far as actually like being on the roster.
Yeah, roster member.
She has been in front of TNA fan eyes before for tapings. But we're talking about Heather Reckless, and she's out of the Chicago area.
Yes.
I believe. Yeah. She's featured in AAW among other Midwest.
I'll tell you, who could give us some great insight on this?
Trent. Maybe we'll have to just record an off, not do a live one, but just do an off one late night if he can't sleep and I can't sleep, and be like, dude, tell me about Heather Reckless, and just do like a half an hour. And we'll do a little dive. We'll do deep dive, little insider.
Love some inside info.
I gotta be careful how I say that.
I do like how no spoilers got up from this taping too.
Well, it's like if you want to know,
for the most part.
There.
Well, those are the 2 NXT ones, but other than that, there was nothing.
I'll give credit. It's funny. I'm going to go a little bit different with this. I'm going to give credit to the fans for not being spoilers. I think they did a great job. And I feel that happened before. Some of the Midwest shows, not Chicago, but everywhere else, seems to do a decent job. Like Columbus. I feel like some other towns in the Midwest have done a good job of not getting spoilers out there. But I'm now convinced there's some loose lips on that roster.
Ooh.
And I think there has been for a while. I think some of them are gone. But I think there's definitely still some loose lips out there that like to go chatty with some people after these loops. And that does nothing. Like, what's that do for you? Is that getting you over? I don't think so.
No.
Because honestly, some of these stories, I didn't acknowledge them as we've been here. Like tonight I am, but I know there was stories about Heather Reckless as soon as the tapings happened. Okay. But there's a reason why that shouldn't be out there right now. But now it can be because it's confirmed. But there's reasons why some of this stuff shouldn't be out there. And I feel like it's some people with some agendas out there that want to, for whatever reason, get this. And I think the more you can eliminate that over time, the better. Because that does nothing for nobody.
Yeah.
Like, no company wants that.
No.
Unless you don't know how to run your company.
Yeah.
I know it was somebody at the Chicago taping. It wasn't you guys, but it was somebody that went to the Chicago taping, spilled every single thing as it happened. They went to the Tampa taping.
Oh, there's other ones. Like Florida, you're always going to get that. Chicago, you're always going to get that.
And the same person who went to Chicago said nothing about Tampa other than saying it was a good crowd. Watch out for the show. So maybe that TNA said something to the person. I'm not going to accuse them, but maybe. So they're like nonstop picture. That it was insane. But
like once again, like we're. I'm not saying it needs to be state secrets, everything. But if it's just like going behind the movie set, and like why ruin? Like why go in and say, you know what? Before you go in to see Star Wars, Darth Vader's his father. Just tell you that coming in. That's what dirt sheets and these spoilers do.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because I was so excited about this last trilogy that Star Wars put out. You know, they put out the 4, 5, and 6 in the 80s. Then they put out the 1, 2, and 3, and then they put out the 7, 8, 9. Well, come to find out, before I could see it in the theater, all of a sudden, I see Gold Dust online saying they killed off Han Solo, and I'm like,
"Say what now?
you better no." So this whole time I'm watching this movie, and it's in the back of my head, and then it happens, and I'm like. Like the only guy in the movie theater. No.
You were doing the Vader from the prequel.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, bonus baby, you are right. Or TNA could just go live. Says me, who doesn't have to pay a dime to operate a live show, and that is the issue there because going live is expensive, and if you're making that commitment to go live every week, that's very expensive because then you're running towns every week. You're running venues every week. So it becomes a lot more complicated. So once again, that's a thing that could be down the line, maybe at some point. But
it'd be great to get back to that.
It'd be nice to get, because they do obviously the TNA Plus special, like we just had with Emergence live. They do the 10 polls live. It'd be nice to maybe get a few random episodes, maybe a year, live.
Yeah,
maybe like how Newport, Kentucky was like the double Impact taping. They could potentially do like a live episode on Thursday, and then do the second taping Friday.
They could. Like, that's how you could make something work like that. Like you could do that. Now the only negative to that is then your gate would be affected because less people will go to shows on a Thursday than a Friday or a Saturday. So once again, all these things have their pros and cons. So it's something to definitely keep an eye out for, because there was like when they were doing, which again, probably wasn't the best idea, when they went head to head with Monday Night Raw years ago. And they did a live show to go head to head against Monday Night Raw. Then they taped next week's episode. So every other week they were live against Raw. So it's been done. You could do it. But once again, that's where a non-paying small audience. So there's a lot of issues. Like right now, because we've seen it. Sometimes they run Saturdays and Sundays. So when they were running Toronto, they were running Sundays and Mondays. It's one of those things where obviously you're going to get your best live gates on Friday and Saturday, no doubt. That's the only thing you can't dispute. But to do live, once again, it'd be a great thing if you could do it. Maybe, like I said, I think they could toy with the idea of doing it a little more probably and not get too in front of their skis financially. Pick a couple episodes like you want to, like sweeps week, let's aim for a September episode. Let's aim for like a couple year and like give them theme episodes. Like maybe give them some old pay-per-view names or something. Yeah. And then you kind of focus on those couple as some benchmarks. But going live every week is going to be tough. Like once again, it could be a goal in a couple, like I'd say probably 2 years. If you keep progressing as you are.
Yeah.
Now. And also maybe go live the Thursday of WrestleMania week too.
Possibly, depending on how doing it, like if they're in connection with WrestleCon or if they're doing their own thing, because it gets complicated because a lot of those, like WrestleCon's part of like a streaming package, but yet they were able to separate their last show. So,
and my like big question, obviously, because like the landscape has changed over the last 10, 15 years, like you said, with Impact going live on Mondays. Like, how different is it, like, for them to go live on, say, Fight or TNA Plus now, opposed to TV, like access?
I think TV is the big issue. I think the broadcast television is limiting. I can't even go into what all the details are, but I think there's a lot more red tape involved. And I'm sure there's some financial like broadcast fees that are hurdles to all this. Because here's the key. When they do this, no commercials. They got to get the ads in during TV. So that's I think the major hiccup here with live TV. So a lot more you're going to have more people on staff. You're going to have to, once again, it's just a lot more going into it. Not impossible, not something they shouldn't be thinking about. It should obviously be an on the table subject, especially as things are progressing. But once again, it is going to be a money thing. So they got to definitely weigh that.
Well, some of these people that we were talking about a few years ago that are like really starting to invest in access TV and whatever, I thought that was going to like really start, changing things in Impact, TNA, but I don't think we saw a lot of change, maybe production wise, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well, what they need to do, and I know they brought in the guy that used to work for WWE, but they need to work on getting, and once again, it's a dying market, cable television, compared to the streaming. So they still need to get like a streaming deal. Like they have their service, but they should get, if not the weekly, like live, like the week later on one of the services.
That'd be nice.
If they can somehow parlay this and get on Netflix or Peacock or something, that would be probably optimal. But they need to get that source revenue there from that. Maybe do a second show on another network, not access. But I think still, like that you own that network, there's a lot of positives. I think there's more positives than negatives. You're not taking that from that network. But you got to build the network. That's the issue. You got to get it on. And we say, like, what was it recently? Was it all the ABC and Disney affiliates got off DirecTV? So, like, there's major stations that are being pulled from big carriers out there. But, like, you got to be on the Xfinity, the Verizon, the Spectrum, the DirecTVs. Like, you need to have access to your station on an affordable tier. Hopefully the lowest tier, not a high tier where you got to pay so much extra to get access. So those is what, if I was at Anthem, that would be my number one goal, is getting access in more homes. I think that's got to be the key. That's got to be what you got to focus on.
Absolutely. Oh, now that we spent almost an hour, that might be a record on news and other subjects.
My fault.
Are we even done with the news?
I think we should be. I mean, we're gonna.
I will just say one thing going out. Just one piece of news going out.
Okay.
Because Scott D'Amore, and I'm a big Scott D'Amore fan, has been on the interview circuit, and I know he said recently that that Rebellion was supposed to be in New York City at the Hammerstein. So and I know there was rumblings about Hammerstein early in the year. I pretty much did hear that. It just never, like, it was on hold. It never obviously got confirmed. There were some rumblings about it. And that's a good time to play that venue. So that could be something maybe in the future, kind of keep in your head that they could go to Hammerstein, maybe Rebellion next year. And then because we knew London was in play for Bound for Glory, like that was out there. But he threw Tokyo as the other option they were looking. Now, once again, this is way back because he knew he was pretty much done before Hard to Kill even came. So it was way out there. But the talk was London or Tokyo. So that's the first I ever really heard Tokyo as a confirmed location for Bound for Glory. So just another thing to keep in mind with the whole international aspect. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the news.
He was ambitious, and I know he just announced. Well, last week he announced Mauro Ranallo, and this week he announced everybody's favorite bald guy in AEW.
What a scumbag!
Where is it? Come on!
What a scumbag!
There we go. There's another one in here too. One of my favorites. Where'd it go? Or did we get rid of it?
That one might not have made it, Jaba.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, it's here.
This is sick. This is sick. This whole place is going to hell in a handbasket.
That one and Hold My Scarf is still my favorite.
Hold My Scarf. That one's.
That one I've got the clip over on the Smash.
Yeah, that was more of a Smash soundbite than a TNI soundbite.
Yeah.
And I'll be going to that MLP show in Windsor.
Oh, very nice.
About 2 hours from my house, so it's the weekend. Before or after? I get the weekends confused about.
Yeah, it's the weekend before Bound for Glory.
All right, before we get into the meat and potatoes, I saw him ask this earlier, and I didn't touch on it. T. Hughes, thank you for being patient. He says, Bill, was Sam Laterna at...
No, Sam Laterna was not at the tapings. I know there's some scuttlebutt out there that supposedly she's not on the roster page anymore. I don't know that. I haven't looked myself. If people miss loops, I wouldn't take too much out of that. Like, I wouldn't say that's a long-term one way or the other. If that becomes a... But there's, like, members of the roster that haven't been on loops for a while and then just show up again. So,
I would...
Yeah, like, I'll say this. It didn't seem like there was a replacement. Like, obviously, we have Gia doing a lot of the backstage. She was doing more of, like, social media campaigns and stuff like that. So was there anybody I saw doing something similar to that? Not that I saw, but I don't know if they had somebody doing something about the area. Once again, you're talking Kentucky, like that could have been due to travel, transit. You never know with that stuff. So, but it's something to keep an eye on, just like anybody else. If you don't see them for a while, then yeah, it could be something else. But yeah, that was not there to my knowledge.
And Sam is not on the TNA website. Sam is not on it.
Yeah.
She's not.
Which, once again, sometimes that means stuff. Sometimes that means nothing because there's people on the roster page that haven't been there in 2 years. So I don't know if I trust everything on the website.
Yeah.
And plus, I'm sure Sam is kind of on like a per loop basis. Like, I don't think she's under a contract. Yeah. So I think that only has to do with storylines and contracts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that is going out the door, as I just talked about Gia being backstage. Gia recognized in PWI as the number 2 current backstage interviewer.
I will give, I will give that to PWI. They have definitely changed their way of like wrestling across the board. They try to do a more universal look at all the companies and what each one has to offer and not just ignoring this brand or that brand.
Yeah, honestly, I will give credit because I saw that. And I'll be honest here. Total disclosure. I grew up huge PWI fan.
Yeah.
I would get that PWI 500 every year, go through it, all 500, make sure I knew everybody in there. But around the EC3 era as champion, they decided to not recognize the TNA title as a world championship. And they lost me, J-Bone. Because that was other companies putting pressure on them.
Yeah.
I won't name names. but they put pressure on them not to recognize it, and they succumbed to the pressure because they wanted to deal with the big boys. So they lost pretty much any credibility, and I believe I called them on this program a rag, which I think was still generous. Then there was, and I know Tommy Dreamer was making inroads. He was putting them over when he was on TV with PWI shirts and all. So I was giving them a little bit more of my attention. And they did recognize the title again. Yeah. So I give them that. I have to look because I still thought it was a little bit slanted in a little way of their coverage. But it's more with the internet wrestling community pretty much. But I'm willing to give them a chance, especially after seeing this. Although I think that poll may have also had 5 AEW backstage interviewers, which is just crazy to have that many backstage interviewers.
Yeah, right. Uh-oh. Eddie's got an issue of something there.
Yeah, I
love the knockouts issue that came out for PWI.
The infamous knockouts issue.
That was
and cool. Kudos to our good friend Basil, who's got in covers and a lot of images in there, which is very cool. So, like I said, it's improved from what it was, which was a very low point for a number of years regarding TNA. If you liked other companies, you would love it.
Yeah.
TNA fans.
What you got, Eddie?
This is with the October edition.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, with
nice.
Roxanne. They did it, obviously, like a 3-4 page story on AJ Francis.
There you go.
Okay, nice.
Love to see it.
Obviously, they talked about his WWE run right there, and then his. I'm assuming MLW, but I don't really watch that. Maybe I don't know what niche that is. And then, obviously, full page on TNA.
Very cool.
And then go back to the champions page. They do recognize TNA down in there.
There you go.
Very good. As they
I said, it has improved. It has improved.
Oh,
yeah.
Put this somewhere. There we go.
All right.
Oh, and another, just because we recognize the rap game in here, but rest in peace also to Fat Man Scoop, DJ Fat Man Scoop from Jose there.
Okay.
So definitely wanted to send the condolences along as well.
Is that
but now I think we got a show to review, J-Bo.
A what?
Only took an hour and 4 minutes.
I thought we were done.
So it's a speed review of the September 5th edition of Impact on Access
wrap this
TV.
up in 5 minutes. No, I'm kidding.
I'm pretending I got Alisha on the show with me tonight.
Yeah.
We knock those reviews out like they're nothing, J-Bo.
Right. She's here in spirit tonight. All right. So we got excuse me. TNA.
And we covered a lot of aspects of this show already in the news. So
yeah, as far as news with debuts, and we'll breeze over those. Right. We'll go into more stuff on other things. Yeah, there's a review, right? Yeah. Who knew? Who knew? You came for the review and you got news from around the world, including a Fat Man Scoop. All right.
Although I'll say this, an hour, not the longest news we've ever had. Close, but not the longest news we've ever had.
It's definitely one of the more longer. We try to keep it to about a half an hour. We try.
We can delay another 15 minutes.
45 minutes. I think the average is about 45 minutes. Do
we want to dive into the return of Lincoln Park? I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the titanium perks from the taping? Or
there were titanium perks. They happened.
Yeah.
All right. So, System coming down to the ring, all patriotic. Bill, you said this during the live reaction. You jumped in the chat for part of there, and you said we need those shirts on sale. I'm a little surprised they don't have them on sale yet.
Yeah, like I don't know if they're going to be like at least on their PWT, one of their PWTs, which if they are there, I haven't seen them yet. But yeah, you need the system T-shirt, like the cartoon version with the whole gag, be it all made in the USA. I need me one of them shirts.
Or even just do, live event exclusive.
Yeah, like that's I'd be all over that shirt. So yeah, make the shirt. And I know there are some people at the company that listen to this podcast. So I won't name names, but I hear rumors. I hear rumblings. I get comments. So
I think I heard of
let's make the shirt. Let's buy the shirt.
Well, if they're wearing it and JDC is already on the shirt, I was like,
spoiler alert.
I'm like, are they jinxing it? Are they, I was like,
they'd have to make a new shirt.
Yeah. Well, it's not the first time they put out a shirt that had a really solid first week run and then a week later had to kill it. Like, what was that? A tag team between Chris Jericho and AJ Styles, one and done. It's like, really? Damn it. Killing me. All right. So yeah, talking about Victory Road, talking about of course, now this is actually the first time we've seen Complete Militia come out with the system. Masha Slamovich. Now she hung back a little bit. She might have been in an interview segment or two.
Yeah, but same thing, hanging around the back,
right?
Not getting too close,
right? So, but she came out here, and then when Lish started talking, when she started talking, Masha made her way up next to her, and I was like, "Oh, that's a good sign." I'm like, "Okay, she's not an official member, but put them together. They're the Knockouts champions. No matter how awkward it is." If it looks awkward and it feels awkward, that just makes it a little more entertaining, because Masha is Russian and you've got these red, white, and blue looking nightmares hanging, all over the ring. So Masha's like, I deal with it, it's a horrible Russian accent. Don't try this at home. So yeah, that was interesting. So Spitfire comes out. They want a shot at the Knockouts tag titles again. Now this is interesting. Lish said she was going to hopefully be cleared by the time Victory Road came about, or a month's time or whatever. They said they were going to do it. Yeah, Critical Sting. You want to know something? Can you please put that on a t-shirt? It's so ridiculous, but just do it. Just do it. There's Lish fans out there that are going to be like, you want to know something? You want to know something? Love it.
Critical Sting.
That's a soundbite coming.
Preach, Lish.
It's gotta be. I like it. I like it. It's part of her growth and her charisma and her character, and that's what she's needed for a long time. And we praise her. We recognize the difference. So she's doing great.
Now we do know. Just Mayor's asking about should Alisha been at home instead of at the tapings after suffering a concussion the night before. We do know, as Scoops gave us, she was in the protocol. So obviously she did not get physical. So there's definitely limits to it. So I'm sure she was tested. And it's all, a lot of it's a tolerance. Because obviously lights could affect you, things like that. You just got to see. But if she had kind of all of her, there wasn't any issues other than the re-aggravation by being physical. I'm sure there's a doctor right there. Now I'm not talking Dr. Ross, but there's a doctor ringside that checks on these things, and I believe she was taken to the hospital to confirm everything.
What's wrong with
as long as she got a clean bill? Dr. Ross has his place with certain things in the medical field.
I've seen Dr. Ross at these shows. I've talked to him. He is an incredible mind in the medical field.
Yep.
He also did
he learned from Dr. Snow.
He also did a great job of helping hand out, front row merch packages. I'm just saying.
He's a doctor that does it all. And they still got Dr. Ariel in case they need him. They have a whole medical staff on call when needed.
Josh Matthews probably has a degree in something.
And my mom, who goes to the shows, does know CPR. So there's another doctor.
You got people on staff.
And she does have the proper paperwork.
There we go.
To do this
We got dueling doctors going at it. Dr. Ariel is better. Although Swag fan, Lish is the best talker in the system. She has grown so much. And there are some. There's a few. I'm not going to say because I think Moose is very good at cutting a promo. Brian Myers can cut a promo. Sure. Eddie's improved so much over the years at cutting a promo. But Lish, she gets the heat, man. She's a heat seeker, and that's what you want. So you let her run with it. Now
she brings that up this Boston accent.
I'm not going to take credit for this, but I will definitely admit that I have been a longtime supporter of a push for Lish. And you could see that because she was in some of the cinematic stuff. You could see the potential to go this. And I was saying she should have been that valet, that Beulah type valet way before she did it. And that was the kid getting her in that role. But like her promo work has even surpassed my expectations. Like she gets so much heat. I didn't know she had that in her. So she's even surprised me with that. Like I thought she could be like the one get you like, oh, she could be the interferer, get the wins, do stuff like that. But she's fantastic on the mic. Yeah. And I know and that people debate this and like get all riled up. That's her winning, man. That's showing them what she can do. That she gets reaction, and that's the key.
And what Bill can, sorry to interrupt you, but what Bill can also verify at the tapings, there was this little kid, maybe 5 seats from us, 6 seats from us. He was causing so much hell with her and back and forth. And then during the system's entrance, which you can kind of see on the broadcast, I had a system suck sign. And she was the one to rip it up. So she's getting the
she knows.
Nobody else.
She knows how to interact with the crowd. She knows how to get that. She knows how to the guests just get under the skin of people. And it's a talent. It's definitely a talent because there's so many wrestlers that try to be a heel and they can't do that. They can't generate that. Yeah. Like that's someone that needs to be a heel because she generates that heat. Now, sometimes if you can generate that much heat, if they babyface you, you'll get the biggest pop for that same reason. So there's potential there too going down the road. But I wouldn't change a thing right now. Like I think they did the right thing. Like as the system lost some of their power, their belts, have Lish be the focus, the one still with the belt. That was some. Now obviously the injury. Hopefully she can compete by the time we get the Victory Road. That I'm fingers crossed. We'll see. But like she even pulled off like the bedazzled neck brace. Like that's like not just a normal neck brace. She bedazzled it. Like that's what you do.
That's classic. Like that's what didn't Heenan do stuff like that? He always had a neck brace. But
you could go back to Andy Kaufman. Like that's one of the great wrestling gimmicks. Yeah. But she's adding her own little Lish-ism to it. And that's why she's, like I said, one of the best right now. Like we talked about rankings with like Gia being so highly regarded backstage interviewer. If you're talking valets, I know she's also obviously part of the Knockouts Tag Team Champions. But if you just said like manager valet rankings, top 5 in the business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's not many anymore. There's not many good ones. And that's the thing. Because I know a couple of years ago, because WWE kind of got rid of them for the most part. They didn't exist. Now, there is the company down south that decided to make everybody one over the last couple of years, but I won't say anybody really sticks out. It feels like if you pay enough money, it's like a VIP perk, not a titanium perk, but it feels like you could just be a manager because I don't even know where half those people came from. But
you're right.
But you got to add something. And that's what she does.
Spice.
You just can't be like just hanging out at ringside doing nothing.
Right.
Which I feel a lot of managers do, but not in this company. I feel everyone that does do that usually plays a pretty decent role.
Yeah. Yeah, like she brings that authentic Boston, I don't know what you call it, drawl, you know. She lays it on thick and it
go
comes
heavy
out.
Boston.
Yeah.
Heavy Boston.
Yeah. Yeah, and she like Eddie, you can hear it in Eddie's, you know, vernacular, whatever, you know. But when she's out there, she cranks it up to 10, and that's why she gets that heat. Yeah. So yeah, good opening segment. So yeah, Spitfire will face Alisha at some point
next Friday. Next Friday.
Is it next Friday? Okay.
Yep. At Victory Road in Cleveland. Wink, wink.
We gotta wait. We gotta wait and see
Cleveland, Texas.
if Lish is the one to face them in the match. If they do get a substitute, put it in the in the chat.
Who knows?
Light up the chat. Who do you want to see Lish bring in for
Could
a
it
substitute?
be a debut if she can't go?
Ooh.
And we
could it be someone from NXT?
And we will know it won't be Killer Kelly, obviously.
It will not be Killer Kelly because congratulations once again. I know we mentioned it on the Tuesday show, J-Bone.
True.
But we didn't say it for our Thursday audience. Congratulations to TNA Knockout, Killer Kelly, who is with child.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to wait and see whether she comes back or not. Every woman has different, wants and needs in the industry once they have kids. Some come back, some don't. We'll have to wait and see, Nonetheless, we just wish her good health, throughout all this. All right, and we get Gia Miller backstage with Eric Young talking about his match he's going to have later with Jake something. And talked about being kind of on the same page and respect. If maybe I didn't hear this right, but this is what it sounded like at first with Macklin. Kind of surprised to hear. I was like, oh, maybe someone's turning the page, if you will.
Well, it looked like they shared a little moment of respect there, which I said it on the review, on Emergence Review, that's something. I think that's where we need to see Macklin, because that was kind of the early Macklin we saw. Then it kind of went into the more heelish Macklin, which, like, he can be a heel, obviously, but not through, like, underhanded tactics. Like, he's got to be badass Macklin. And I think that's what you got there. Badass Macklin can give respect. So, and still be a badass, which might come off as a total tweener. But I think that's where Macklin probably is the best fit on this roster.
Okay. We got a couple samples for not samples, examples, excuse me, of who they like to see. The hero we need.
He is. Well, that was during that whole Ring of Honor storyline. Like, that's where he should have been the hero we need during that storyline.
Oh yeah,
because he was. It was for the brand. He was all about the brand, and people were booing him.
Yeah,
come on.
Oh, we got Angelina Love here. That's an interesting choice. I don't know what she's doing right now. She's still with NWA or no? She was for a bit.
She was. I don't think so right now.
Okay.
But hey, you know me. I'll always default to the beautiful people because they are still one of the biggest draws in TNA history.
True.
Impact 1000 still showed that. Like, they are the clicks. They are the views. So in some role, bringing them in from time to time, I still think would be a home run for TNA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like maybe don't overdo it, but if you brought them in for loops here and there throughout the year in different markets, I would play on that for sure. I think you could do a good job of playing in on some of that nostalgia of this company.
Like they did with
Nunzio.
Nunzio and the FBI, perfect example.
Anytime I get a little Guido appearance, Guido, I love that.
Yeah, Guido,
yeah. You're going in another company there, Jay.
I know, but I appreciate. I never saw a lot of ECW back in the day like you did. So when I finally got to sample some of the,
that's when you saw him, when it was Nunzio.
It was Nunzio, and it was, I can't think of the guy's name.
Tony Mamaluke.
No, it was two former WCW, or one was a WCW guy, had the long hair. He was part of the New Blood. Chuck
Palumbo.
Chuck Palumbo, thank you. Because I was thinking Billy and Chuck Palumbo.
Yeah,
and
you were mixing your Chucks.
Yeah, and then different Chuck. And then oh God, I can picture him. Yeah,
another guy.
Another guy. Oh, he had the short-lived. He was under the mask of Relic in TNA. I know that's a deep cut, but that's the same guy.
You know what Relic is spelled backwards?
Yeah, murder.
Of course,
or killer. Yeah, not Vito. No, go look up who was underneath the mask of Relic, and you'll find out the other guy that was in the Johnny Stamboli. Thank you, Critical Sting. Look at the big brain on Critical Sting. All right, sit down.
sit down.
Dr. Gerbs, thank you. You're late, but thank you. All right.
No one's as quick as Critical Sting.
Right. I swear he's got that one vein in the middle of his forehead. He goes, boom, answer. All right, now we got a clip for JBL when he showed up at the end of Emergence. I wish we got a little. This is my only criticism of the show, because this show was loaded. Can't complain. A little bit of everything. We got debuts. It was a great show. But if you're going to sit here and cash in on the hype of JBL, a lot of people talking about him showing up at the end of this Emergence. Why? Why is he here?
You still don't know.
Give us
it was
something.
A tease that he was here.
Right. Is it, he was
I give him a pass till next week, J-Bone.
Yeah, if he doesn't,
they were letting us know what happened at the show, right?
Yeah.
They could have given you an immediate payoff, but there are people that didn't watch the show. Now the TV audience knows this what happened, and he showed up. So next week, though, you need a payoff. I'm with you.
Right.
If we get nothing next week, it will feel like Josh Bishop again. What happened? Where'd he go?
Right. Where'd he go? Right. We want Josh Bishop back. I'm getting to the point. I'm an old bone. I'm like, I want to see Josh Bishop back. I can't even remember who the hell he came out with. Who'd he come out with?
AJ Francis and the other guy.
The one dude with the face. Right. Thank you, Eddie.
With the face.
Give us Josh Bishop with JBL. There you go. There's your combo of the year. Write it down. All right. KUSHIDA. Now I was excited about this. I was damn excited about this.
Oh, I was excited as well, J-Bone, and Eddie can attest. I was not expecting this matchup. Like there was a couple matchups that wound up happening at the tapings that because they advertised a big fat 0, which is the first time for TV tapings. They didn't advertise one match. For that night of tapings. So that they got a pretty good house with 0 promotion. Now, obviously you can't promote matches with results on the live show, but usually people not booked, things like that, you can throw a few matches, 2 or 3, but they did 0.
You're talking about the night after Emergence.
The night after Emergence. So where
Okay.
these TV tapings and next week's TV tapings will come from.
Right.
But when you first see it, because obviously you have 2 faces going at it here,
Right.
X Division wrestlers. So I was doing both. I was Time Splitter, Banner, and then I was Lucha Mask for Laredo. But it was putting me in a spot. It was putting me in a pickle, J-Bone.
You were just falling off of your chair. You just
I really don't want to spoil anything for next week, obviously, but you are in a big pickle next week.
If you think that's a pickle, J-Bone, next week I'm in the ultimate pickle and I get called out for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
For the same reason of not knowing what's coming, but that's part of the fun.
And somebody can correct me, but the only thing they announced for the taping, like the day itself, was the meet and greet. That was the only thing that they announced. So
yeah,
they
the
were
only
like
thing we knew based on the night before was a Jordynne Grace Open Challenge. That's all we knew.
And
Jordynne Grace and Zachary Wentz was going to talk.
That was it.
But like we knew nothing.
So,
wait, what is this? What is this?
I'm not sure who that is. Because Kyle Lawrence.
Long live
the scumbag. And there's
are we talking about?
There's only
Don
one.
Callis?
There's only one scumbag that I know.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
That's a scumbag.
Kyle, are you some sort of relation to the Long
Kalon?
Island, the Kalon? You gotta speak up, sir. We're giving you the microphone. All right. This match was great. While we had it, Kushida versus Laredo Kid. Sound off in the chat. But
it didn't last too long, J-Bone.
No, it didn't, unfortunately. We got interference from a Josh. Speaking of scumbags, Josh Alexander attacks both of them. We get the, ding, no contest, whatever.
Because I like scumbags.
Yeah, well, he does. Jeez Louise. Kushida's all upset. He's like, hey, you. Hey, how about you and me right now? Right now. So, wow, sure enough. We get Kushida.
Make it happen.
We get Kushida versus Josh Alexander. Short but sweet match. Nothing to really write about here.
And you got history there, J-Bone. Because remember, Josh Alexander was supposed to defend his title against Steve Macklin in the Canada-USA rivalry Slammiversary match. Well, actually,
okay.
Match. But then injury and Kushida took the place and faced Macklin. And that's how Macklin won the title.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was a year and a half ago. Wow.
Yeah. Time flies.
Oh, yeah.
It does. Holy cow.
Just like this show.
It does. Yeah. We're almost halfway through the show. We're getting there. Josh gets the win.
We're going 3 hours tonight.
And then they're helping Kushida to the back. He is a hot mess because he took an extra C4, I believe, from Josh.
Oh, not the drink. C4 Spike.
Yeah, not the no. That's a sponsor for another company. Joe Hendry then backstage.
Not that we won't take your money. Slide into those DMs.
Here. Yes, absolutely. Joe Hendry sees him backstage, and he's like, what is with you, man? What happened to the guy that I used to know? This is ridiculous. So yeah, not happy. Joe Hendry. We see a more serious side of him. Sometimes he's got a big old smile on his face. He wasn't smiling here. Now we got the open challenge, big part of the show here. Jordynne Grace defending her Knockouts title. And we get some new faces here. We actually get two for the price of one here. I thought we were going to get a match with Santino's daughter, but no. We come to find out.
For a split second, I thought that might be the case.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, that is not wrestling attire. Unless I'm in for something very different tonight.
Yeah, right. She's the queen of something. But no, we find out that she is now what does she call herself? The liaison. The liaison. You gotta throw a little French on here, because she's from up there. Hey, she is the liaison to make sure everything moves smoothly between who comes to TNA from NXT and who goes to NXT from TNA, which I actually think that's a pretty ingenious character to create.
Big fan of this.
Yeah, it's kind of like a side GM. She can work with her,
which is similar to what she's doing down there. So, because she gets a lot of TV time down there in that role.
Now, is she working with Ava, or is that someone else?
Seems like she's involved with a bunch of different wrestlers down there. It feels like.
Okay, all right. I'm still very new to her character. I have heard of her. I heard,
and others might know she might be more linked to one or two of them, but it seems like in a lot of the ones we've been focusing on for our shows, like she's kind of runs backstage into a bunch of different people, it feels like.
Yeah. Dr. Curbs here, missed opportunity not using Joseph Parks. Oh, I think he's a little busy working on another show, but I hear you.
Hey,
I hear you.
But I wouldn't put that out of the realm of possibility at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's there.
Right. Heck, if he can work with AJ.
Oh, here we go.
Why not?
Critical Sting. Stevie Turner and the former Robbie E are the ones connected with Ava, who we saw Stevie Turner, obviously, against Jordynne previously.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm still getting used to a bunch of these faces on NXT and who they're with and who they're
Although they can keep Robbie E.
Yep.
Oh, you don't like him? Bill said talk to the hand.
Hey, now you give me Jesse, the talent of the bromance, I'll welcome him back anytime. But Robbie E, let's just say that era has passed.
Yeah, so you don't like him in the suit?
I don't like him. I don't like him with a shirt. I don't like him in a suit. I don't like him in...
I thought you were going to say, I don't like him in a shirt. I don't like him in a skirt. I don't.
I think we could go a little Dr. Seuss with him. I think it would be fitting.
Oh, God. Because I saw an interview once that people were like, well, why aren't you wrestling? And he played a clip of like him just getting his ass handed to him by like.
Now that I enjoy.
Abyss and all these other big guys in TNA back in the day, which goes back, at least a decade, if not more now.
Now, once again, people can change, but he was let's just say, prima donna during his his previous TNA run at best. Okay. So I could have changed over the years, but don't need any of that.
Gotcha. Okay. But nonetheless, we get liaison Ariana Grace introducing Jordynne Graces. So you get two Graces here for the price of one. We get her challenger introducing NXT's Karmen. I'm going to carefully pronounce this, considering
this is easy. There was a basketball player with this name, J-Bone.
I love Tom Hannafin and I love Matthew Raywald, but they could not say her name right once throughout this entire match. It is Petrovic. And the reason why
it's very easy.
It's so easy. I said this during the live reaction. For years, there was an insurance agent that served our family by the name of Lucky Petrovic. And he
gotta like an insurance agent named Lucky.
Exactly. He always got us the best rates. He did no wrong by us. He was wonderful. And then he retired, But we had him with our family for decades. So they kept saying Petrovic, and I'm like, no, stop that. There is no CH. It is CK or a K, one of the two. But yeah, I actually was a really big fan of Petrovic coming out here. I'm going to say it 1,000 times. Tell them to get it right. I was a big fan of Karmen's match with Jordynne. What did you two think of this match? Let's start with Eddie. In fact, we'll start with Eddie. Go straight to Bill. I'm going to step out for a minute and grab a drink. I'll be right back. All right.
All right, Bowman.
Being familiar with Karmen on NXT, you knew you were going to be in for a good match, regardless of how it was going to be. And this was surprisingly one of the only two spoilers I got out of the tapings was them showing up. But it was definitely a good match. I wouldn't say it was the best match of the night or the tapings in general or the weekend in general, but definitely was the standout match of the Knockouts division of the weekend, obviously.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good assessment of it.
And two, they teased more of the Rosemary and Wendy Chu faction or team on NXT, which was a good sign too, because they just started that Tuesday, I think, or this past Tuesday.
I guess they were. Now that they're actually a team, that seemed to kind of come in Tuesday, so that we saw this happen, obviously, with the aftermath, and we saw the hooded figure of believed to be Wendy Chu after this match. That means we'll probably see her on TNA.
Yep.
I'm guessing Victory Road.
In Cleveland. But no. I even said multiple times, it's in Cleveland. It's in Cleveland. You're like, no, it's in San Antonio. No, it's in San Antonio. But I do like how they advanced that storyline with Rosemary and Wendy.
Yes. So that's, but no, I had seen her before. I haven't seen her much in my NXT viewing or when I've been down there a few times. But I think I actually did see her wrestle once when I was down there. But once again, I think that just kind of shows, we've said it before on the Tuesday shows, they got a lot of talent down there at the Performance Center. We're seeing at NXT. I know, obviously, we've been talking about some new members of the Knockouts division, but I think that you're getting some of these other individuals from NXT. I think it's a two-way street. I think we're helping each other here. We're seeing good young talent because some of these are going to turn out to be the bigger stars in the company worldwide, and they're going to have matches in the TNA library, which is pretty cool going forward. So looking back at this, I think that's going to be thinking, who knows? Just like we're seeing, a couple of these won't work out. They might not be on the NXT roster, but that could make a lot of sense then to bring in. Or I would like to see maybe an excursion. Let's go the excursion route. NXT loan somebody to TNA for 3 months, for 6 months.
Sure.
Where maybe they're not even on because you only have so much time in NXT, just like TNA. But you can get a long run feuds out of one or two people doing that. So I think it puts that all on the table.
Good brothers. Good brothers.
Oh yeah, good brothers.
I
think I need a little too sweet, brother. There you go.
I'm just saying, just putting it out there. Let's see, who would you? Oh, here, Mayor. great because we see these stupid commercials during Raw and SmackDown all the time. I'm gonna shoot from the hip
Jamie?
on this one. Would you buy insurance from a guy in the Progressive commercials? Let me tell you about Progressive, the company. Personal experience. Jacked up my wife's insurance twice. No warning, no accidents, and no reason other than, oh, well, your kids are of driving age now, so that puts you at a higher risk. And I'm like, no. She goes, number one, this is at a time, it's because she's got, she went through a divorce. She sees her kids like every other weekend. She's like, my kids don't even live with me. So no, you can't do that. And they're like, well, there's nothing really we can do about it. She goes, well, there's something I can do about it. Click, cancel. So yeah, Progressive, garbage, absolute garbage.
Well,
they're what? Hang on.
Go ahead. Finish, J-Bone.
Hang on. Oh, it's going to get juicy. These commercials you see every damn week, garbage. They prove how stupid their company is. That they have absolutely zero clue how to do anything with insurance. Oh, something about a bundle. If I want a bundle, I'm going to go to McDonald's a block away and bundle up some burgers. I'm not going to bundle up insurance, okay?
Jabba.
They're all idiots. It's like they always prove that they have absolutely
I'll give you
no
an
common sense.
You're being too specific, though, because
Pacific.
It's not Progressive. It's not one insurance company. It's all the insurance companies, J-Bone, because they all do the same thing. What you're saying about Progressive, someone else is doing with Geico, someone else is doing with Allstate, someone else is doing with State Farm, because that's what it is. They all jack up the rates. And it's like, once again, I'll get into cable television again. You would have to play them against each other. Every year, you need to shop it around. I'm just giving you the facts right now. Because if you don't do it, they'll take advantage of you. They'll come up with reasons to jack it up because everyone's insurance is going up these last couple of years, 20 to 30%. Yeah. And if you don't shop it around, that's the only way you can get it to be at a reasonable number. That's just my recommendation.
I hear you.
For any insurance company.
This is back when I first started dating her, though, 15 years ago.
Well, that's what they do. And that's the thing. The customer that sticks with you is the one they're more likely to take advantage of.
Yeah.
It's all about the new members because they get bonuses for getting new members, not for retention.
Right.
So
I know.
That's the insurance spiel of the TNI program tonight. Back to the show.
I know nothing.
I'm burying that stupid brunette. Never mind. All right.
Oh, leave Flo out of this. What'd she ever do to you?
I like her sister. That's about it.
Oh. I will say quickly, technically today, because it's the 6th, we no longer get to see Progressive on SmackDown.
Oh, really?
Because September 6th is the final SmackDown on Fox, and they're going to USA next week. So we no longer have to see her on Fridays.
The end of an era.
You know what? You made my night, Eddie. Thank you. But if I see that commercial on Raw or on the USA Network this Friday, I'm calling you up. Okay, where were we? We're talking about the Knockouts Challenge here. So yeah, Grace gets knocked out. There's a pillow left in the ring. Wendy Chu's on her way.
That's right.
Got to be Wendy Chu. And what the hell was in that pillow? My goodness.
That was a loaded pillow.
We get a promo here, ABC with First Class.
First Class.
Great to see Casey Navarro still in the mix. Somebody check the rock.
We've been hyping Casey up on this program for a while.
Yes. We love Casey. Great look. Great in-ring work. Can't say much about the promo stuff. He's been a little quiet, but that's AJ's thing. But great team. I feel like he fits right in where Rich was, So those two, I'm sure, are going to face off next week, I believe.
Yep.
Before Victory Road.
Really big shoe.
Now, I only saw part of this promo. I got to go back and watch the whole thing, but I caught the last, between 5 seconds of it, and then I saw this knockout open up the fan.
Yeah, I think we went over that in the news section.
Right. I'm just very brief. Yeah. Saying.
Well, it was meant to be brief. There wasn't a lot given away.
Right.
They were trying to keep mysterious, but the fan was the big focus because it kind of gave you a little bit of an obscured visual, and then it went to black, and then it came back with the fan.
Right. And it was like, ooh, I think I recognize that gimmick. Yeah. So great to see. We get an in-ring promo from Zachary Wentz. He's very proud, brand new X Division champion as of this last emergence at the Ultimate X. Great match. A lot of people stood out in this one. I think I know I'm not alone here when we say stuff like Jason Hotch really tore it up and had
my star of the match. Like Zach Wentz, congratulations.
Right.
Well earned, deserves it. Big fan, and he's already been showing up on obviously NXT with the belt. Love it. But Jason Hotch, another guy that we've been talking about a lot on this program ever since, honestly, his debut. I thought it's like I've been giving him his due, and that's one of the I heard some rumblings from somebody, I'll remain nameless, that's like, all you're doing is putting him over on the TNI show. But I'll tell you, he had the moment of the match. Like what he did in that match, that's the takeaway. That was a star-making performance in my.
Yeah, wasn't that like it was similar to, like, you talk about like when he did something on the ropes and then he fell down or something to that effect on top of them. It was similar to like it's almost like a nod to what AJ Styles did like 20 years ago, I want to say.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, the rack bomb on Hammerstone.
Yeah.
Dr. Gerb says.
Yeah. I couldn't remember who he landed on, but yeah, it was great. Good stuff. I'm going to watch that one back. So yeah, congrats to Zachary Wentz. Then out comes a very serious Speedball Mike Bailey. I was like, I'm like, this guy's always smiling. He didn't smile once on his way to the ring. I'm like,
well, he didn't know J-Bone. He didn't know.
I thought we were friends.
Right? I'm like, what is up with? I'm like, are we getting another heel turn here? I don't want to look too much into this, but this is like the most serious I've ever. I thought he was going to attack Zach.
Well, you just lose a belt. You got to have a little bit of a. You got to reevaluate things.
You got a chip on your shoulder. I get it, but I was a little shocked. Usually he comes in so jovial, like wonderful match. You really shine tonight, but I want a rematch. No, he was like ready to go. I love Speedball though. I can't wait to see this, as they are really going to tear this up at Victory Road. But yeah, your thoughts on Speedball coming out?
Wow. Love it. He put it's the right thing to do, because you have to have. He lost in an Ultimate X. We talked about it on the Emergence post show. The odds are stacked against you in Ultimate X, so that a change wasn't that surprising. Yeah. But you can't have him just like be an afterthought. Like, still, Mike Bailey's one of your go-to guys, standard bearer in that X division, defeated Ali for that belt who did so much with it as well. So no, I think it was good to get these guys back together here to see, kind of see what comes of it now.
Yeah.
And I do like how he finally like changed his character up to like the heel after almost 2.5 years in the company, 3 almost.
Yeah.
So it's nice to actually like change him up every once in a while, which I liked. The more serious side of him.
Right. Yeah.
Like you said with Joe Hendry, like the baby face that smiles all the time. When he gets serious, it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which
Here
I
we
like.
go. Look out. Yeah. Exactly. And then the good hands attack Speedball and Wentz. So then, hey, holla, we got a tag match. We got good hands versus Bailey and Wentz. Bailey and Wentz get the win here. Great to see. Fun little match. I like the T-shirts that the good hands came out with simple big red writing said, "Damn, I'm a good hand" or something like that.
Didn't they have a blue shirt over the summer too?
Something.
I think they did. I'm surprised they didn't wear that one though. But
yeah,
Speedball rascals.
Let's see here. Steph DeLander's backstage.
Confirmed. Signed through the rest of the year, Steph DeLander.
Oh. When did this come out?
She announced
recently?
it on, I believe, the aforementioned PWI has a podcast. I didn't even know they did. But congratulations to PWI.
Oh, okay.
But they were interviewing her, and she announced that she is signed with TNA through the end of the year. And that's one of those things. Like, I think she has been signed, but once again, TNA occasionally wants to promote signings, but that's not their big get. But like, remember, WWE rarely announces signings.
Yeah.
Like, occasionally they want to put it out there.
They'll put out
a lot of the
class. They'll put out say, "Oh, this is the next class that we put into developmental," stuff like that. And then they have stuff like the draft where, okay, so and so and so and so and so and so are being brought up to Raw and SmackDown. So and so is going down to NXT, whatever.
Transactional.
Right. Where are they going? Now you know. But yeah, so Steph DeLander. So congrats to Steph. That's awesome because I really feel like she's in like a drama thing right now, which is fine. It's fine. Not everyone is going to have a match in the ring. You got a storyline. You got some drama going on with PCO and Matt Cardona. I'm all good for a goofy romance. That's fine. That's professional wrestling 101. Hell, look at what's happening on Raw. It's ridiculous. With Mommy and Dirty Dom and all that shit. I love it. So rubbing noses. My God, what have we come to?
Wait for Netflix.
You're right. Just wait. I'll be doing a lot more than rubbing noses. Steph DeLander backstage. She's heading to the Impact Zone, but she's trying to hold back her man. She's like, "No, stay in the office, stay." He's like, "No, why?" I love PCO, and then his eyes roll. You never know where he's looking. So she's headed to the Impact Zone. We get a clip in between this segment coming into play here of Tuesday's clip of Rosemary in the ring with Tatum Paxley, and she lost, but then Wendy Chu and Rosemary attack her, and Lyra Valkyria.
Valkyria.
But yeah, what he said. she showed back up on NXT, and she apparently she had she was buddies with Tatum Paxley, and now they're friends again, and they hugged, and the whole world is turning on its axis again. It's wonderful. Wonderful. So yeah, we're probably gonna see some tag matches with Rosemary and Wendy Chu. We're also gonna see it on Wendy Chu coming to TNA. I think it's a great combo. What do you guys think?
I like it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we were talking about that in the aftermath of the match earlier. But yeah, no, we saw it on Tuesday, kind of coming more to fruition. We saw a little bit more tonight. But yeah, once again, just can't. Very happy to see this for Rosemary as a longtime roster member, getting more recognition with a bigger audience. That's great. And obviously, we've seen the back and forth. We've seen kind of like the story develop a little bit. But it'll be interesting to see kind of like how this ends, like where this goes, because at least for the TNA portion of it, like we still like, where does Bound for Glory go? Who's going after Jordynne Grace? It felt like Rosemary, because they never really had the end to their match. Like she has the best case on the roster. Now, obviously, they could go NXT, they could go newcomer. Like one of these newcomers could just come on the scene real quick, and maybe you could have the infamous debut to defeat her, Jordynne Grace.
Sure.
That wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
But
kind of like
right
how
now, so
did.
yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how this ends with Rosemary, to see if she is in position to be going after the Knockouts title come Bound for Glory or not.
Yeah, I feel like it's
or she's in a whole different direction, or if she's in a different direction and not in that storyline.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things they could play between the two shows. And I love the fact, Wendy Chu is still kind of young. She could really learn a lot from a veteran like Rosemary. And I think it's great, It's
like
really
you
good.
said about like a debut, she's still obviously injured. What about Bound for Glory? There's an open. She does an open challenge, Jordynne Grace, and it's the returning at Cora Jade.
Could be.
Her first match in 9-10 months, and she wins a TNA title.
It could happen. Obviously, we haven't seen like the titles switch hands yet. Like that would be like the ultimate. Like, okay, they're really doing something here.
Yep. That's how you would turn heads, because she's obviously a big name in NXT. She's coming off of an injury, with TNA being like a lighter schedule. That'd be perfect.
It's a possibility. I don't know if they're going to go there yet. Like put a title on another company's person. I don't know if they're willing to go that far.
Yep.
That might be too much. But I was talking to a friend of mine, and it felt like, well, maybe the best way to do this is with the Knockouts tag titles, where you have one member of each roster holding a belt. Could that be Rosemary and Wendy Chu?
Oh.
And then you have them both appear with Knockouts tag team titles on both shows.
Beautiful.
That would
that's where I would go. That's where I would go.
Yeah. And then you can have you don't have to have this team versus this team and both teams take both belts. No, just have an exhibition. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of bragging rights. It works. Now I'm sorry I didn't write down where Rosemary's promo comes into place, where she's backstage and she's holding onto that it's like a cage door or some kind of cage or whatever. So I'm just going to slip it in here because we're talking about her.
Okay.
But I love what they're doing with Rosemary. She is one word, conflicted. She's got part of her that's pulling this way. It's like, oh, you're so excited. The hive is hearing us again. And, and then she's got this other side pulling the other direction. Like, no, they're not. We don't give a damn about them. It's like she's got some serious, I'll just say personality issues. She's, there's a lot happening up here and here right now with Rosemary. And I'm trusting this because she has been one of the most consistent, wonderfully evolving knockouts in the history of this division. No matter, whether she came back from injury and killed it, whether she evolved from this stable to this tag team, went from Rosemary into Courtney Rush and then back. It's like, it's all flowed, she's done great with whatever she's been given and whatever she had to do at the time. Are you guys feeling the same about this? What do you think?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
No doubt. Like the more Rosemary, the better.
Yeah, and like I said, she's just her working in NXT is just going to help those ladies as well because she's been around, Okay, now we got Eric Young versus Jake something. Good match here. And we got another heel turn here. After the match from Eric Young and Jake something. They're showing some mutual respect to each other. Jake starts walking away and turns around. Then he starts, almost like hulking up, I'll call it. And he attacks Eric Young.
He was something up.
No, he was something all right. He was. And then something that I was not expecting, we get Macklin to the rescue. What?
It's about respect, J-Bone.
It is. It's mutual respect, and that's something that Eric touched on earlier. And that he would always be in Macklin's corner if he needed him. And I was like, what? I'm like, did I hear that right? Really? I was like, wow, okay. I'm down for this, So if it looks like we are starting to see the formation here of Eric Young and Macklin as a tag team. Now, there was that word that our lady Satan, Alisha, always used for tag teams that got put together, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. Like random people.
Platypus.
Thank you. This is a platypus. But what do you guys think about it? Does it feel organic? Does it feel like what? What are we doing here? What do you guys think?
Well, I don't know if they're a team per se. They're two guys that have some respect for each other after having a feud. Now it's like saw one kind of getting screwed over, was helping them out. Right now, they're just two dudes that are seeing eye to eye.
Yeah.
I won't put it anything more than that. Like if you're saying they're getting tag title shots, that's a whole nother story. But right now,
we'll see.
I won't go that far, J-Bo.
Okay.
I think you're jumping the shark a little bit on this team.
I agree with Bill
because this feels like this could be over in 2 weeks.
Could be. It just feels like I'm so used to, I'm not saying that Eric Young has to be with someone. He is a great solo performer. He's great in all of his solo matches as of recently because he's really not with anyone. There's no stable to back him up. No 1,000 yellow sweatshirt guys showing up and beating people up, whatever it used to be. And Macklin's never really felt like a guy that fit with anyone. He's always marched to the beat of his own drum. But this feels, I don't know. There's something about this. I dig it. So we'll see where it goes. You might be right. That might be just looking at it big picture wise, like it's a lot more than it actually is, but we'll see. Yes, Mayor. See, Mayor's always, I don't know what kind of notes Mayor takes, but man, he's always pointing stuff. He's like, hey, by the way, you missed this. This was here, in between here, before this segment, after the J-Bone, what are you doing? Okay, I got you, bro. I got you.
Yeah, it's like, stop spending an hour on the news. Stick to the review.
Yeah. But Lincoln Park, Bill. Steph DeLander comes out to the ring. We're gonna rewind a little here, folks. Just bear with us. This is after the showing of the Rosemary promo. This is where I got lost track right here. She comes out and SDL. She's all upset. She's wearing some really interesting. She almost looks like she's in mourning, but she's matching her man. I get it. It's like this is the time of season you start thinking about Halloween, but for them it's Halloween every day of the year. So I get it.
It's a lifestyle, Jaba.
It is. It truly.
Are you in the lifestyle, Jaba?
Not that life. No, I respect it. I respect. Put it on a flag.
I respect the lifestyle.
I respect it. Put it on a flag. There we go. The freak flag. Yes. She calls out Matt Cardona, and Matt Cardona's like, "You're mine. You're mine. It's going to wrap you up in a bow and take you home. You're mine." And she's like, "No." And he's like, well, you really don't have a choice, because he gets out this little piece of paper with big names on it. You know, it's not just signing, but just big names. You see Matt Cardona, Steph DeLander, contract, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, so he's basically saying, I took you around the world. What's the words he used? I plucked you from obscurity. Those are big words right there. That's like you were on the corner, wallowing in the gutter. I picked you up, threw you in the back of my truck, cleaned you up, took you around the world. That's, it's like, wow, what a guy. What a guy. He did all these things for her. But then her rebuttal was, well, yeah, you did do those things for me. She's like, but I worked hard on, right alongside of you. She's like, I was able to get myself over. It wasn't just you bringing me to the dance. It was me and a lot of hard work too. So, but then, I can't remember how this segment ended. A PCO comes out, right? He basically chases. He basically chases off Matt Cardona. So I don't see this happening with any like titles. It's I saw some people in the chat during the live reaction about SDL being up on a forklift. And I was like, oh no, that's no. SDL on a pole match. No.
I could see Cardona and PCO at Bound for Glory, though. That I can see happening.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's double champion still, PCO. He's got to have to defend it at some point.
He is.
Once every 30 days.
This is true.
Yeah, Lish told us. Contractually obligated every 30 days.
But as you're saying it like that, you have to hold your neck. Okay, then we got a promo. I believe I was coming back from break. We see a promo from the Hardys here. They are going to be wrestling at Victory Road. I don't know who though. Did they say who? I missed part of the promo.
Did they say
they said they want to fight Eddie and Brian next week.
Oh.
Then, yeah.
So next week we get the Hardys in ring, J-Bone.
Okay, good. Jeff,
could we see a very minor spoiler, Bill?
Uh-oh.
That they got the biggest pop of the night.
Oh, we could say
Hardys.
stuff like that.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
the Hardys always get the biggest pop.
Always.
No spoiling there.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, I'm in my mid-20s, and I acted like 7 years old again, so.
So I think we know the graphic on next week's review show.
They might be. Well, they were on last week's too. So we'll see. We'll see what they all come up with. It'll be the go home show
It's
for
the algorithm.
Yeah. What's gonna sell, right? Let me ask you guys something. Do you feel like what's that?
You just asked us something. Go ahead.
I know. All right. I'm asking you something else. In this stage of their career, are Matt and Jeff Hardy still a big draw for TNA? Or is this like a little bit of fluff nostalgia that's going to go away soon? What do you think?
Oh, they're still a big draw. There's no doubt.
Yes.
They're a big draw still.
Big draw for whatever promotion they're in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because obviously people
they
know
promoted the Hardys heavily for both nights. Florida, they promoted the Hardys. So yeah, no, that's definitely contributing to ticket sales. There's no doubt to that.
Okay.
And you need a couple acts like that. Like they're the most known act in the company.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They are legendary. Hell, they started in the 90s and they're still going. Yeah.
And the Hardys should be the one that they put on the event posters too, like around town and street teams and stuff. Because people know Jeff Hardy over, say, example, Eddie Edwards, for example.
Oh,
Just the
yeah.
name recognition.
Especially depending on what part of the country you're in.
Yep.
You know, anything down south, big Hardy country.
Because they're doing, 3 events in North Carolina, South Carolina in November.
Yeah, the Carolinas are going heavy, so
that's by design.
Yep.
Yeah, and
literally,
and they're not going anywhere. I think you'll eventually see it, but you're going to see the Hardys through the rest of this year in the next year.
Okay.
So I think they're going to utilize them as much as they can, obviously, because it's a two-way street. Like they're getting out there, and it's going to result in their Hall of Fame eventually with WWE. But now, obviously, like Jeff, Matt as well, but obviously Jeff's been one of the cornerstones of this company over the years through different eras.
Good and bad,
He's always been one of the top merch sellers in company history, one of the top attractions for live events in company history. So that's something you can never discount. And it's still going. But in other companies where they might have a couple big acts, it does mean a lot more to TNA. Like we were talking about earlier, if you want to play these bigger venues, you want to sell these seats. Now, hey, Matt Hardy was there at Slammiversary, but that was without Jeff Hardy.
Yep.
You have Detroit, the Hardys together in a featured match, maybe a tag title match.
Ooh.
That's going to sell extra seats. No doubt about it.
Yeah. TNA Hall of Fame this fall?
This fall? You mean next April?
No.
TNA Hall of Fame this year?
TNA Hall of Fame. No. Too soon?
Way too soon. Yeah, way too soon.
I could see the beautiful people going in this year, though.
Yeah, I don't see the Hardys going in. They're not going to go in there before they go into
WWE.
The WWE Hall of Fame. Because that's going to take the momentum, like back-to-back Hall of Fame, something like that.
Has there been anybody inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame and TNA in the same year?
No.
Kurt Angle was close.
Yeah, I think there's been some time apart. At
They
least
could make history and do that too.
Could.
They could. Yeah, because I could see it if they were to go in next April, them to go in the fall in TNAs.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They might not want to have like the story of them being Hall of Famers in another company, and then a couple months later look like they're just doing sloppy seconds.
Yep.
And does WWE take them back? Period. There's been a lot.
Yeah, they will at the end.
You think so?
Oh, 100% they will. Yeah.
All right.
There's no doubt about that.
All right, next, let's see here. Gia, I think we're all caught up now, back in order. Gia Miller's backstage with Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry's pretty upset with all the stuff going on, but he says to her that he's like, well, you'll excuse me. I've got, and it was talking about because he's taking time away from NXT now. So they're wondering about that. And he said, well, I've got a TNA world title to chase. It's like, oh, okay. So there's a few people coming after Nick Nemeth coming this latter part of the year. So this is going to get interesting come Bound for Glory. We get the on-screen debut of Heather Reckless with, I think Gia Miller introduces her.
Yes.
And she's talking, and then she kind of gets in the middle of a conversation between Ash by Elegance and the concierge, and all of a sudden Giselle Shaw appears. And the look on Heather's face is like she's not quite how to like take everyone. It's like, wow, this is a lot here. You gotta chill with the energy backstage here.
Simmer down now.
Simmer down now. But it looks like we are getting the debut match next week. Heather Reckless versus Giselle Shaw.
Confirmed.
I am all about that. You guys excited for that?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
All right. We'll see if Ash plays a part in this. We'll see. I got a bad feeling. Main event time. We are there. Better late than never.
You think this is a review show or something?
Jeez Louise.
Longer than the actual episode of Impact.
Only on the TNI program can such things be accomplished.
Right, right. It's a rare.
We will outrun the length of the TNA Impact.
I hate podcasts that do that. It's like, are you serious?
You're so self-indulgent.
I don't even touch them. I'm like, are you serious? No. I'll give you 5 minutes.
We're broadcasting the show.
I'll give you 5 minutes. And
cheap clicks.
Yeah. Jeez. Ooh, fancy cover, but the show's 3 hours long. Bite me. All right. You get 2 hours or less here most of the time. All right.
When I come on, it's a 5-hour show. No.
What the hell, Eddie? Jeez, you were supposed
That's
to stay on.
Come on.
You were supposed to stay on for like the news, and you just stayed. Oh, I'm kidding.
As long as you want me on, I'll stay.
I'm kidding. We love you.
We got. I got nothing else better to do tonight, so might as well just join, I guess.
We get Joe Hendry with Mike Santana versus the System's Moose and the questionable future of JDC. But we don't just get that. We got Josh Alexander on commentary. And is he a snarky fellow on commentary? He's like, wow, I'm going to see what this Joe Hendry guy is all about. I'm going to see if he's, worth the hype and all this. I was like, oh my God, this Josh is killing me.
And I like the new turn of him too.
It's starting to take shape. I'll give it that. It is definitely starting to take shape. This segment was needed. This commentary segment was definitely needed by Josh Alexander, because sometimes when he comes out and he's cutting a promo, I'm not going to sit here and say that he's sucking at promos. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the first couple times he came out as a heel, I don't feel like the crowd was like, yeah, they're gonna boo him, but I felt like he needed more substance in there. Something. He needed to give him something. Him jumping in on commentary was a great addition to throw some attitude around and, belittle the tag team that he doesn't like. What do you think about that, Bill?
No, I'm with you. Like, I am liking that it was a slow transition to the heel that we've seen Josh become. They didn't just automatically, like at first, and remember he was cutting the promos like, hey, I didn't change. You changed. I'm just doing what I normally do. But you don't like it all of a sudden. But then he obviously is getting into more underhanded tactics, snark, things like that. Not the heart and soul type wrestler we've seen before. So I think that it's been done well because this was a super over babyface since he got full mic time. And like, obviously, like he was a creation. Like they were doing all the Canada shows. He was the favorite son. Like he was like the TNA Hulk Hogan of Canada for that era. And
the show was on his back.
The show was on his back. Like the company was on his back. Like it ran through him. So to take somebody like that and turn him heel, obviously makes sense. Take the most over guy in the company right now, Joe Hendry, and do a feud with that. Started with the cliche nut shot and move on from there. So I think they've done it pretty well, like about as well as you could execute it for like some long-term heat. Like we saw, like we talking earlier with Lish, like she's able to get it. She was able to build up to get that. And Josh, you can see it. He's getting more heat as this is happening. And obviously Joe's helping that because he's just so over. He could lend his babyface pop to get that over. So it's working for him. It's working for him. Yeah. But no, I think it's getting to where we need it to be for sure. And then obviously in the main event, we're seeing like we saw what happened in that main event. Not victorious. Like he's had a tough stretch now, Joe Hendry. With him and Mike Santana in this one, losing the Moose and the newest member of the system, the JDC.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. JDC, excuse me, the JDC has secured his claws into that system family. He certainly has. Good match. And I feel like Mike Santana, as much as he's got the fans behind him, and he's got that he's still kind of riding that comeback push. He's in the same situation now that Joe Hendry is. Joe Hendry's been in a bit of a slump. Still a lot of hype, still a lot of singing, still a lot of arm waving, but yeah, it's like, ooh, yeah, you couldn't win that one, then ooh, now you couldn't win this one. What's next? But I still feel like there's
although you had to reestablish the system. And not have them. Remember, they lost all these belts. They could be an afterthought right now.
Oh, yeah.
And we know, based on Nick Nemeth commentary from Mexico, that he is, like, we know the main event is Moose versus Nick Nemeth for the title. So that team's got to come out. The team with the challenger for the world title's got to come out on top.
Yeah.
Through any means necessary.
Absolutely. We get so Moose gets the win, securing JDC's future. I don't know if Moose necessarily wanted this or not, but he obviously wanted the win bad enough that he he's got to be thinking something positive about JDC. And we get a promo from Nick Nemeth at the end there, and I'm really starting to like Nick Nemeth's promos because he'll get real excited about stuff, and then he'll almost start whispering, and you gotta like really listen. And it's but that's there's something classic about that too. You know, you gotta really put your ear to the television. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. It feels like a classic. But that's it for the show.
That's it for the show. And just, I know we talked about it briefly earlier, but I see one of our Team Twitch in the chat, Rebel Avenger here. TNA announced they would no longer be airing Impact on YouTube because the whole membership option is no longer there. And they didn't air tonight's episode. They did. If you were a member on the YouTube, they actually they did give they gave an original announcement, and they gave another announcement that they were sunsetting the YouTube option as they transitioned over to their own app. Like, obviously you can watch it on Access TV, but if you were watching via YouTube because you didn't have access, you can watch it on the TNA Plus app, and there is a membership option there as well, which you can then watch the show. But yeah, it's no longer available on the YouTube. Right.
And if you had the dollar like per month, you know, they originally had the $6.99, $5.99 tier, whatever it was, for the longest time. Then they got rid of that a few months ago, and now they got rid of the dollar per month to get all the episodes. My dollar last week was actually refunded to me, so hey, I got a dollar from Impact, not bad.
Don't spend it all in one place.
Oh God, yeah. I'm getting
you can't even get a burger from McDonald's anymore for that.
I'm getting a hot dog and a cookie from Costco. Oh, I don't know, something.
There you go. Big spender.
By the way, their cookies are incredible. Anyways, that's what the show.
What they should do for the TNA Plus app is do a $5 tier for only the Impact episodes, like how YouTube was. So it's still affordable, and it's not like $1. $5 can get you to the last 6 months of Impact at a time.
Yeah,
that's something they should maybe implement at some point.
Yeah, and stay tuned, like Rebel or anybody else. If you're like, hopefully you can, like, if you don't have access to it, you can join the membership tier on TNA Plus. But if you're looking for, they do offer. Pay attention to our social medias. Normally, I will put up if there's a different code available for like a free month or a discount on an annual plan. So they do offer them during every loop. So you normally can get a discount going forward. So something to keep in mind. But yeah, hopefully, like as Eddie said, maybe they can also offer another tier. We'll see. I'm sure they'll look at all the metrics and see how many memberships they had previously, how many transitioned over, and do they have that need to offer another tier? Like, are they losing people because of that? If that's the case, I'm sure they'll look to make adjustments, because once again, this is like a new land that they're going through here to go through on this. So I'm sure there'll be adjustments as we go through this over the coming weeks, months, years.
Right. But I'll tell anybody that wants to know, like, how, because we preached for the longest time that the Impact Plus stuff was not running well. And that's why a lot of us went over to YouTube, because that did run smoother. But I tell you what, ever since TNA Plus came in, it's been, I think we had one show that was a little glitchy. Other than that, it's been running smooth. So I got really no complaints.
And if I remember right, the TNA Plus player is the same as Peacock. I could be wrong there. Like the actual player. I could be wrong. Okay. I know it runs on the same server or Endeavor. So if I'm right, it should be the same.
So, yeah, definitely similar. There's no doubt similar. If not, they could be very similar coding, if not the same code.
Yeah.
And with Kyle, since he mentioned that. I got home from the tapings at, I think, 4:30 or 4:35 a.m. Okay?
I beat you.
I have... He probably didn't know you. You probably know where the cops hide anyways, but... No. I got home about 4:30, 4:40-ish, right? I had to be at my job at 9:30 a.m. I woke up that morning, 8:50.
Nice.
You were happy.
You love to see it.
Yes.
No.
Absolutely.
We got changed. I ran to work. Luckily, work is, a 5-minute walk from here. I ran.
Nice.
Well, luckily, my boss knows I'm a wrestling fan. Sometimes I run late, so luckily I have that little bit of leeway. But man, that was tight. Woke up at 8:50. Oh shoot, ran. That's why I don't do 9:30s.
But let's run over the card real quick for next week's Victory Road. Of course, we got the main event
in Cleveland. Okay, I'll stop.
From what?
It's in Cleveland. It's in Cleveland.
You sure?
At one point it was.
Is Cleveland
got up and walked to San Antonio?
San Antonio, Texas?
There's no basement in the Alamo.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Bill.
It's in San Antonio.
That's perfect.
Unfortunately.
Nick Nemeth versus Moose for the TNA World Championship. Nick Nemeth defending, of course. We have a match here. Oh, I can't wait for this. Joe Hendry versus Josh Alexander is official. We got a lot of new matches to announce here real quick. X Division title on the line. Look out. Zachary Wentz defending against Mike Bailey. We've got ABC defending their TNA World Tag Team Championships against the System, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. We'll see if Alisha's in tow. She's on the poster here. We'll get it. Yeah. We'll see. And the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championships. Militia versus Spitfire. Will Lish be cleared to defend, or are we going to see a surprise face back up Masha Slamovich? That's the card so far.
And
I like it when a plan comes together.
Definitely watch next Thursday Impact for Joe Hendry and Josh Alexander. Definitely. Bill knows what I'm talking about, but definitely keep an eye on that segment.
Can't go wrong with that.
You're talking about like a go-home segment leading into the show. Okay. Yep. Okay. So I have this feeling like they're not going to be like, well, I hope we have a wonderful match out there and shake hands and hug. No.
I don't.
I figured that was a given. What would happen, J-Bo? Two professionals?
I'm just gonna say probably another low blow like Josh gave him tonight. It's Joe, poor Joe, right in the Hendrys. All right, that's the show tonight. Make sure you folks smash that like button, smash that sub button, and ring that bell for notifications. Why? So that you know when more of our content hits your screen. Please check out all the links in the description, all the audio links, the social links, and the one and only Manscaped link. Best deal in TNI Town. 20% off and free shipping. Use code TNI. And I can't think of all the one-liners that Kyle used to use. Otherwise, I'd use them right now. Something about a peanut. We miss you, brother. All right. We'll see you, folks. You take care. Thanks for joining us. Good night.